مرحبا يا صديقي. اليوم سنقوم باكتشاف واستمتاع بطبخ الشرق الأوسط. I know these words, guys, not only because I use Google Translate, but also because I used to live in the Middle East, particularly in Doha, Qatar. But you know, guys, the more I think about it, I haven't actually eaten local Qatari food. And that's why, guys, in this week's episode of Around the World series, we're still gonna continue home, but we'll do a collection of Middle Eastern food that reminds me of Qatar, of my second home. So come, let's discover and delight Middle Eastern food. We have 8 dishes for this episode, and we're starting it off with pickled turnips and chilies. Now, they're very good as appetizers, but I think they're better off as side dishes. Eating them as such will give you extra layer of crispiness, tanginess, and spiciness. As you can see, I have already peeled the turnips and cut them into thick sticks. I have also prepared the beets, which will be used as a natural food coloring for the turnips. To prepare the pickling liquid, I mixed in a pot some bay leaves, water, and salt. I then put them in heat until the whole mixture boils. Oh, of course I did not forget the aromatics, especially this garlic. I then mixed everything in a seal-tight container. I needed to wait for about 3 days though, just so that the turnips can absorb the color from the beets. Now for the chilies, you would do the same process of pickling, mixing, and storing them in one container. And I hope you do enjoy and crunch away with these munchies. Next up is tabbouleh. As you can see, this dish requires your labor of love. But trust me, it'll be worth it if you give your all in the chopping part. I have prepared here the lemon juice, olive oil, and pre-cooked bulgur. Then I mixed everything, starting with the liquids. Then I also seasoned with salt and pepper. Now moving on to the mains, we will start with beef kofta. As usual, I started off with the aromatics. I chopped some garlic and grated some onions. I removed the excess liquid from the onions so that the molding would be easier later. If you don't have a food processor, here's another trick to chop your nuts. I mixed everything together, starting with the liquids and baking soda. Don't copy me. Use a bigger bowl in mixing. I refrigerated the meat mixture for an hour before I molded them. Here I had fist-sized balls and then I formed them into boats and skewers. Next, I made chicken legs and shish Taouk marinade. I did buy a pre-mix here. I lightly peeled the chicken skin off so I can fully massage the marinade on the flesh. Then I added all the ingredients before I started massaging. Before baking, I marinated the chicken for an hour. The longer the better, of course. Falafel is a good alternative if you are vegan or vegetarian. In this dish, I basically mixed and pulsed everything together. Now, falafel is prone to crumbling. If you want to prevent that from happening, you should have a finer grind of the chickpeas, remove the stems from the herbs when chopping, use recommended binders from recipes, refrigerate them at least an hour, and remove any excess water before molding them. I used an air frying method, and for that I needed to lightly coat the pan with some oil. Now we move to dips and sauces, and first up is my favorite, hummus. Since I used dried chickpeas, I soaked them overnight with salt and baking soda. Doing so will help flavor them and soften their skin. I also wanted a creamier texture, so I peeled the skin individually. Yes, individually. I put in the peeled chickpeas and water in a pot, brought them to a boil, and cooked for another hour. Now, you'll know they're ready if you squeeze the chickpeas and it disintegrated. Then I mixed all the ingredients, including the water from the boiled chickpeas. I pulsed them by batch because I have a small food processor. I repeated the mixing and pulsing until I got the desired texture. And that is a creamy hummus. Tahini, my other favorite. I basically toasted the sesame seeds. I turned them into a fine powder using my coffee grinder. I slowly blended in neutral flavored oil until I got the desired texture. Finally, I seasoned to taste with salt. I saved the best for last with garlic sauce. As the name suggests, I needed a lot of garlic. I lost the footage, guys, but I basically made an emulsion out of garlic, lemon juice, neutral flavored oil, and salt to taste. Here's the proof. Buy garlic sauce from me, like and subscribe this video, and check out the next one, which is the Middle East Feast mukbang.